Welcome back into Sports Drive. Once again, I'm your host, Preston Moore. My last guest joining me now via Zoom is Alan Roberson from the Sports Nerds, host of the Sports Nerds on KGNC. Alan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. You know what I mean? It's been a great day. It's been slightly warmer, considering the weather. Obviously, still pretty cold, but feeling good. I figured I had to at least halfway match the wardrobe. I mean, plenty of times I've given youth crap, same thing, vice versa. I had to at least come in with a polo jacket. You know what I mean? Still kind of casual, but I feel like I'm kind of dressing up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're getting there. The thing is you're not normally on camera for your show, so you can dress however you want whenever you're on the radio. For my show, I gotta be ready to go. Let's talk a little bit.
And you do it well. You guys do it well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit of NFL stuff. Obviously, huge news this morning. Tom Brady retiring, maybe presumably retiring. I guess we'll see if it sticks around. Personally, I'm a little offended that he did it on my birthday 2 years in a row. This day's supposed to be about me, and he's taken all my thunder away on my birthday 2 years in a row. So I'm a little upset with Tom Brady. I have a little bit of beef. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Tom Brady retiring, do you think it's legit, or do you think he changes his mind in 2 weeks and comes right back? I mean, it seems like he's kind of addicted to football, so I wouldn't be surprised if he came back. What about you?
I mean, the same thing, literally, as you mentioned, a whole year ago, as far as this has to be it. There's nothing else for him to accomplish. He has every major quarterback record by a healthy margin, whether it's yards, wins, touchdowns, the list goes on and on. 7 championships, multiple MVPs, won by unanimous vote, I believe, back in 2007, 2008, if I'm not mistaken. But sure enough, maybe a whole month and a half later from then, it was, there's just something about being 44 going on 45 that I feel as if there's something else that I need to prove outside of an 8th championship and finishing, top 5, top 10 in all of the major categories. Again, as far as single season's concerned, there's literally nothing else for him to do. Like, we've said this for really, he could have retired 5+ years ago, and he still would have been regarded as one of, if not the most decorated football player to ever exist. You know what I mean? So to answer the question, long story, a little bit less long, I really do think it is. I really do think that this is it. I mean, I think that after this past season, despite how well he was playing, believe it or not, I mean, granted, you kind of needed to pass and be in those top 3, top 5 conversation as far as yards and touchdowns are concerned, but they couldn't run the ball to save their life. The offensive line was not healthy by any stretch. I think one of the only games that they were healthy were against Dallas a couple of weeks ago. So I do think that I would not be surprised if, believe it or not, this is actually going to be it. Our team's still going to call over the next couple of months, considering the vacancies that are still need to be filled at certain teams. Sure, why not? But you really need to ask yourself, this is going to be somebody at the start of next season going on 46 years old. Now, the only thing that I guess that would be different outside of a 45-year-old Tom Brady and a 46-year-old Tom Brady is literally just one revolution around the sun. But I just, as far as the actual bottom line, every single box needs to be checked off. If it was a place like San Francisco where you have the defense there, you have the run game, the offensive line, maybe. If it was a team, like even a team like Vegas, I mean, granted, that's quite the opposite in my opinion. But if the money's there, if you have the type of weapons there, like a Devontae Adams, why not at least tease with the idea? But if I'm Tom Brady, I have literally everything that I could have ever wanted and then some, especially with how things started out coming out of Michigan, getting drafted. One of those, I guess you can call it underdog adjacent stories as far as where things started back 23 years ago, which also incredibly too ironic that, 23, all the comparisons like with Jordan, list goes on and on. But you're fine. You should be totally fine. I do want to ask the question to you, though, and I kind of joked about this on my Twitter earlier today, considering that famously the last game, his last loss was against said Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. I'd hang up a banner. I'd be completely real with you. Do you think it's really warranted of a banner? Like, I don't want to throw more dirt on the Cowboys' name as far as when are we going to see them back in contention for a championship. Yeah. But this might be, if there's ever such thing as consolation, retiring the most decorated quarterback in history, that has to mean something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about a banner. I think if the Cowboys were to hang up a banner over one win, the internet would have a field day with that and
Oh,
how that
for
looks
sure.
after
For sure
not
they
being
would.
able to make a conference
Oh, yeah.
championship in 30 years. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You mentioned, one of the times that they were the healthiest was in that game, and it was probably the worst Brady's looked all season. He had a very good season
By far.
overall,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's good to, it can't go without noting that he had, one of the top 5 seasons out of quarterbacks this year. He went out on a good note, and he had probably, arguably, one of his worst teams that he's ever been on. So if he were to come back, you mentioned San Francisco. I don't think this will happen. But if he were to come back, that would be the spot. Because that is a spot
Yeah.
where if you want to win a championship, you can next year. Heck, they almost did it with Brock Purdy this year. And frankly, they might have if he didn't get hurt against the Eagles. It was still totally in the cards. It looked like they weren't going to win that, but still, I mean, they almost did it with Brock Purdy. Imagine you stick Tom Brady behind that offensive line with those weapons, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and then obviously McCaffrey. I don't see anyone at all stopping that offense with the offensive mind that is Kyle Shanahan. Will they do it? I don't think so. I think that they still want to make Trey Lance happen. Despite my warnings to them personally. I don't know why they're not listening, but I think that would be a good spot. We have about a minute and a half left. We talked a little bit about the Brooklyn Nets before the show during the break. They have been pretty successful with that new big three. Do you think they have a chance at a championship with KD, Kyrie, and now Ben Simmons?
I personally think so. I mean, you have two of the more talented offensive players that we've seen, let's just say within the past 10 years with KD and Kyrie. You check off those boxes as far as 3-level scoring. Ben Simmons at his worst is what we've seen so far. Get you 2 points, maybe no more than 8 to 10 points, but the rebounds are there, the assists are there. He's still at his best an all-world defender. So you definitely have checked off those boxes. The one thing that I'm definitely curious about, not just with them, but a lot of the other teams that are on the bubble as far as contention, what moves are able to make over these next couple of days. The trade deadline is obviously around the corner. All-Star break right there around the corner. And it's still an incredibly deep Eastern Conference. You should forget Boston's still up top, Philly, Miami, even to a certain extent. The list goes on and on when it comes to those teams. So I'm very excited what we can see from the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, big. There's a lot of competition in the East. You mentioned those teams. We got Milwaukee in there as well. Cleveland surging right now behind a young roster. The Knicks are in contention. The Hawks, the Wizards, and then the Pacers rounding out that top 10. And all of these teams seem like they could make a run. They seem like they could make an impact in the playoffs. So going to be a very good playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Alan, we're out of time, but where can we listen to you?
Yes, this evening, matter of fact, 7 to 9 on 102.9 FM, the newest station here in Amarillo, the Panhandle Sports Star, will be following right after the Drive at 5. So stick around for the Drive at 5 from 5 to 7. Jake and I, the Sports Surge, right after. It's going to be a fantastic time from signing day to NFL news. Obviously, the Brave and all will expound a little bit more upon that. And we obviously do want to hear from all of you guys as well. 806-350-1029. Sports Surge 7 to 9 on the Panhandle Sports Star.
Awesome. Well, Alan, thank you for joining once again.
Thank you so much. You have a good one.
Thank you for watching Sports Drive today. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. With a whole new set of guests for you. So stay tuned, and we'll see you tomorrow at 3.